I want you to think about the last time this debate came up. Maybe it was your parents telling you that renting is throwing money away. Maybe it was someone on the internet telling you to rent and invest the difference and you'll beat any homeowner. Maybe it was a friend who just closed on a house, looking at you like you're behind somehow. Everybody has a take. Nobody shows you the actual numbers. After 30 years in finance, here's what I know. Most people make this decision based on the monthly payment and nothing else. They look at rent versus mortgage and pick whichever one feels manageable that month. And then they never run it forward. Not 5 years, not 10, not 30. Today, we're running it all the way. Two guys, same income, same city, same savings, same goal. One rents, one buys. We're going to track every dollar. Rent increases, mortgage interest, maintenance, property taxes, appreciation, opportunity cost, all of it. And when you lay the full picture out, the gap after 10 years is not even close. Meet Nathan and Sam. Same city, same job, same $55,000 salary. They both have $60,000 saved up. They're both looking for a 3-bedroom place in a decent neighborhood close to work. Everything about their starting position is identical. The only difference is what they decide to do. Sam buys a $300,000 home. He puts 20% down, that's his entire $60,000, and takes out a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.5%. His monthly payment in principal and interest comes to about $1,517. Add property taxes at roughly $250 a month and homeowner's insurance at $130, and Sam is looking at around $1,900 a month going out the door. And that doesn't even include maintenance. Nathan rents a comparable place for $1,400 a month, no down payment. He takes his $60,000 and puts it into an S&P 500 index fund, averaging around 8% annually. His monthly cost is $500 less than Sam's. No mortgage, no property taxes, no repair calls. He has a growing investment portfolio and a lighter life. On day one, Nathan looks like the smartest person in the room. But there's something Nathan doesn't realize yet. Every dollar Sam pays is slowly buying him a piece of something real. Every dollar Nathan pays disappears the moment it leaves his account. That distinction, played out over years, is worth far more than $500 a month. For the first few years, Nathan is genuinely winning. The furnace breaks, he calls his landlord. The roof leaks, landlord's problem. The dishwasher dies, someone shows up and Nathan doesn't pay a single dollar. His only costs are rent, maybe $15 a month in renter's insurance, and utilities. No surprises, no 5-figure repair bills showing up in the middle of the school year. And his $60,000, sitting in that index fund at 8% annual returns, has quietly grown to about $75,600 by the end of year 3. He hasn't added a single dollar. It's just compounding in the background while he lives comfortably. Sam's picture looks messier. Closing costs hit him on day 1, about $9,000 in appraisal fees, title insurance, origination fees, all gone before he even sleeps in the house. Then property taxes start coming. Maintenance runs 1 to 2% of the home's value per year. That's $3,000 to $6,000 annually just to keep the place from falling apart. And here's the part that really stings. In the early years of a 6.5% mortgage, almost everything you pay goes straight to the bank as interest. In year 1, Sam pays about $18,200 in mortgage payments. Roughly $15,400 of that goes to interest. Only $2,800 actually chips away at what he owes. That interest disappears exactly the way rent does, except nobody calls it that. Through year 3, Nathan has paid about $50,400 in rent and holds a $75,600 index fund. Sam has spent over $73,000 between his mortgage, closing costs, taxes, insurance, and maintenance, and built only about $9,500 in equity through principal payments. Through year 3, Nathan is winning. It's not even close. Nathan's lease comes up for renewal. Rent goes up 4%. That's $56 more a month. He barely notices. $1,400 becomes $1,456. The next year, it's 1514, then 1575. Each increase feels manageable. It's never enough to make Nathan panic. It's just enough to quietly eat into his budget a little more every single year. Now look at Sam's mortgage payment. $1,517 in principal and interest. Same number he paid in month 1. Same number he'll pay in month 60. Same number he'll pay in month 360. For 30 years, that number does not change. This is the mechanism most people completely miss when they compare renting and buying. Rent is a variable cost that only moves in one direction. A mortgage is a fixed cost that inflation slowly makes cheaper in real terms. In year 1, Sam's payment feels heavy. By year 10, it feels normal. By year 20, it starts to feel almost cheap. Nathan's situation does the exact opposite. Starts comfortable and gets heavier every single year. Nathan's $1,400 rent, growing at just 3.5% per year, becomes roughly $1,870 by year 10, about $2,510 by year 20, approximately $3,370 by year 30. Sam is still paying $1,517. Something starts shifting around year 4. By year 6, the math has quietly reversed. Sam's home has been appreciating. Historically, U.S. home values have grown at roughly 3 to 4% per year on average. At 3.5% annual appreciation, his $300,000 house is worth about $347,000 by the end of year 6. His mortgage balance has dropped to around $269,000. That means Sam is sitting on roughly $78,000 in equity, net worth that didn't exist 6 years ago. But here's what makes the math really interesting. Sam didn't put $78,000 into this house. He put $60,000 down. The rest came from appreciation on a $300,000 asset that he controls with a $60,000 investment. That's leverage. And it's the single biggest advantage homeowners have over renters that almost never gets mentioned in the monthly payment comparison. Sam earns appreciation on $300,000. Nathan earns returns only on the money he actually invested. There's no leverage, no multiplier. His $60,000 index fund has grown nicely to about $95,000 at 8% annually by year 6, a solid $35,000 gain. But Nathan's rent is now pushing past $1,600 a month and approaching what Sam pays in total housing costs. Except Sam's payment buys him equity every single month. Nathan's payment buys him another month in someone else's property. The monthly rent is the number you see. It's the number on the listing, the number in the lease, the number your brain locks onto when you're comparing options. What you don't see is where that number goes over the next decade, 2 decades, a lifetime. Rent never stops. There's no month 361 where the payment disappears. There's no payoff date circled on the calendar. There's no finish line. When you're 35, you pay rent. When you're 55, you pay rent. When you're 70, retired, living on a fixed income, you still pay rent. And that rent is significantly higher than it was when you were 35. Nathan's $1,400 rent, growing at 3.5% annually, becomes $1,870 by year 10, $2,510 by year 20, and over $3,300 by year 30. At the exact moment Sam makes his final mortgage payment and starts living in his home for free, Nathan is writing a check for over $3,300 a month to a landlord for the rest of his life. And the money is only part of it. Renting means you don't control your housing situation. Your landlord can sell the building. They can choose not to renew your lease. They can raise the rent beyond what you budgeted, let the property deteriorate, or change the rules of your living situation with 60 days notice. You're building your life, your kid's school district, your commute, your neighborhood relationships on a foundation that someone else owns. The true cost of renting isn't just what you pay per month. It's what you pay over a lifetime, plus the control you give up along the way. If I only showed you renting's weaknesses, I wouldn't be giving you the honest picture. Buying has real costs that people love to underestimate. Closing costs hit you for $7,500 to $15,000 before you even get the keys. Maintenance is relentless. A new roof runs $8,000 to $15,000. HVAC replacement costs $5,000 to $10,000. And some years, a foundation repair shows up and ruins your entire summer. Budget 1 to 2% of your home's value every year and hope for the best. Property taxes can rise even when your mortgage is fixed. Your equity is trapped inside walls. You can't spend it on groceries or access it in an emergency without taking on more debt or selling the whole property. And selling means paying 5 to 6% in agent commissions, another round of closing costs, and hoping the market hasn't dropped at the worst possible moment. Real estate is an illiquid asset, and illiquid assets are genuinely dangerous when life doesn't go according to plan. Here's where the full story comes together. Over 10 years, Nathan has spent roughly $193,000 on rent and renter's insurance. He owns nothing. But his $60,000 index fund, untouched at 8% per year, has grown to about $129,500. Sam has spent roughly $285,000. Mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, closing costs, considerably more than Nathan. But his home is now worth approximately $423,000, and his mortgage balance has dropped to about $253,000. That's $170,000 in equity sitting in his driveway. $193,000 spent, $129,500 in investments. $285,000 spent, $170,000 in equity. When you net it out, Sam is $40,000 to $60,000 ahead, and the gap accelerates from here. Every year that passes, Sam's balance shrinks, his home value climbs, and Nathan's rent goes up. By year 30, Sam makes his final payment and owns his home outright, a home that could be worth over $700,000. His monthly housing cost drops to taxes, insurance, and maintenance, maybe $600 a month. Nathan at year 30 is still writing a check for over $3,300 a month for the rest of his life. I'd be lying if I said buying always wins. There are specific situations where renting is genuinely the correct financial decision. If you're staying less than 5 years, buying almost always loses. Closing costs in, agent fees out, minimal equity built in the early years. You'll likely lose money compared to renting. The break-even point for most purchases is 5 to 7 years. If you're not staying at least that long, rent. If you live in an extremely high-cost market, Manhattan, San Francisco, parts of Los Angeles, the price-to-rent ratio can be so skewed that buying makes no financial sense. When a home costs $1.2 million but rents for $3,500 a month, the math doesn't work for buyers. And if your career genuinely requires geographic flexibility, or if you're the kind of person who takes every dollar saved by renting and actually invests it consistently without ever touching it, the returns can close the gap. But be honest with yourself. Most people don't do this. The savings get absorbed into lifestyle creep. A nicer car, more dinners out. The investment discipline that makes the rent and invest strategy work requires more consistency than most people actually maintain for a decade. Renting as a deliberate strategy is smart. Renting as a default you never question is expensive. Nathan and Sam both made their choice thinking they were being smart. Nathan thought he was staying nimble, keeping his money growing in the market. Sam thought he was building something. Neither of them actually ran the numbers past the first year. Sam won, but not because buying is always better. He won because he locked in a fixed cost in a world where everything else keeps getting more expensive. He won because leverage let his $60,000 earn returns on a $300,000 asset. He won because every payment brought him one step closer to a finish line. And after 30 years, his housing cost drops to almost nothing, while Nathan keeps climbing. The real trap isn't renting, and it isn't buying. The real trap is making a $300,000 decision based on a monthly number without ever asking what this costs you over 10 years, 20 years, a lifetime. The next time your lease renewal arrives with a 4% increase that feels like nothing, run the numbers. Because that 4% doesn't feel like nothing when you add it up over 30 years. That's the only math that matters.